let's start with you, Nana.
Yes, madam.
So, Nana is CEO of AccessUK, which...
You got it. You've done well, though. Done well. African Caribbean Careers and Employment Support Services. UK. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about AccessUK.
In a nutshell, the inspiration came for it after the 2011 riots. I was commissioned to do some work on the causes of it and found out that our people in Haringey and across London are just not being served well by mainstream services in terms of like employment and all that kind of stuff, employment agencies. So off the back of that, we set it up, as the name implies, to give more tailored services for our people, whether they're a graduate or someone who's got no qualifications whatsoever. So we offer basic careers and guidance services, IAG services, which is information and guidance, tailored our community on outreach primarily, and that's it.
So could you tell me a little bit more about how the riots influenced the start of the...
So Tottenham historically, there was riots in 1985 and there was a subsequent one in 2011. And the underbelly of it obviously is poverty and lack of opportunity. That's the undercurrent of it. Obviously, Mark being killed was a spark.
Yes,
but after it happened, they asked me to do some work on the causes. Like I said, that's when I found out that in Haringey, there's wards in Haringey that are like top 10% poorest in the UK.
Wow.
Right? And it's people like me and you that are living in these places. And what I found was that the service that are there to help them into work, into training, are just not up to scratch. They're not fit for purpose. So the idea, like I said before, Access came out of that. So around 2012, I tried to get some funding, didn't work. Then I ended up investing my own money into operations, and then after that,
You say you invested your own money?
Yeah. Because at the time I was into buy-to-lets. I was into the buy-to-let business hard at that time, and there was a time of the credit crunch as well. So I tried to do a remortgage, didn't work. And I thought, let me sell one of my properties and invest it into. But I believe in it passionately. I've always been into this stuff, but it's just that circumstances came together to move me into that space. Do you know what I mean? I'm always into community work and doing things, locally. I volunteered as a youth worker for years of my own free time. So it was like it all came in together. And then I just pushed some money into it. We've done very well in terms of our outcomes, and then obviously the government started coming and different people started coming trying to commission us to do work for them.
Brilliant. Yeah. I have to commend you, like putting your own money into a project. A lot of people don't do that, and I think that's what sets you apart, really. It's the actual passion and dedication to be able to take your belief and your passion to change.
Yeah. Thankfully, I was in a position to do that. I was in a financial position to do that. There's lots of people in the community that want to help, but they haven't got they can't do it, essentially. So, for instance, there are lots of people doing great work in the community. Like I said, most of them are self-funded. So they do a 9 to 5 on a plantation, and then they'll use that money to service what they're doing. Yeah. And that's not a model. That's not a sustainable model to really make a change out there. It's great in pockets, but to really scale up, you do need that. You do need a lot of resources. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So why do you agree?
No, just because as an artist, I know what it's like, innit? Because obviously you're working a 9 to 5, unless you're already in some sort of position where you're privileged financially. It's hard because the videos are expensive to shoot videos.
I know exactly.
You know what I'm saying? People charge a lot for editing, just everything. You know how it is, in especially somewhere like here, everything costs. One day we're going to be paying for air. That's how I feel like.
Yeah, I believe that.
Over here.
I believe that. But I do get it. Even just like, but that's obviously guys, but as a woman as well, you have to think about what you're wearing, you have to get there. As well, you have to think about what you're wearing, you have to get there. Everything costs, so it is difficult. So, but you do a lot of work with like getting funding as well, don't you? You help the smaller businesses and the smaller models to to grow and
Yeah.
build networks. So you're very much about networks.
Yeah. Because, you know, the strength in numbers is simple. And then the irony of it is, most people that have got no acumen, they think that, you know what, the pot's drying up. So let me keep all my information, my intellectual capital to myself, because that's how I'm going to survive. But clueless. The irony of it is, in the space that we're in, the first sector, the more links and networks you have, the more chance you are actually going to make money.
Yeah.
You know, so it's imperative to have a wide network so people can see you as a go-to person anyway.
Yeah.
And also, in terms of the people that are using the services, I should be able in a position where someone comes to AccessUK, I'm not a mental health expert, or my staff are not mental health, but I know who's doing what in the community. And I know, you know, so it's good to have different experts in different sectors all kind of working together.
Definitely the go-to guy.
Yeah.
Because I know you work with London's Finest.
Yeah, Chris Sibia.
Brilliant. I've worked with him as well. And there's lots of different networks, the Black Child Agenda, there's lots of people that are around you.
Loads.
And you're helping to push. And I think it is about building a strong team.
Yeah, that's it. You know, strength in numbers. And that's the biggest downfall of our communities, that we don't realise that there's strength in numbers. Everybody else, and the thing is, it's not like you have to love everybody. There's some people in my circle that are particularly, hey, they're not my best, they're cup of tea. But the point is, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than me as an individual. It's like, what are they bringing to the table that's going to aid and support the youth? You see what I'm trying to say? So you might have personality clashes, and I've got a very strong personality anyway.
Wonderful personality.
Yeah, some people might see it as something else. But you know what I'm trying to say. So you're always going to have dynamics where you don't, you know, you might have clash. But the point is, once you put that aside, it's about the youth. And if it's about the youth,
we're all working in the same direction.
Absolutely.
Another thing that as well, you're also very recognised. You work within our networks, but also government. You're quite recognised within government, higher government. I saw that you were invited to number 10 to the youth summit. Was it youth violence? Was it?
About knife crime, yes. The serious youth violence. So before Theresa May left office, she called in, you know, certain people that they've recognised as doing the work, and you know. I've been, you know, we've been commissioned, AccessUK has been commissioned about 3 times by the government. Okay. So we've run contracts with the government direct, so where they pay for what we deliver. So they know our work, they know our track. So anyway, I was invited there for a whole heap of other people in the community. And that was her kind of saying her goodbye, but also putting things in place. So when she's gone, certain things can keep rolling in. I mean, people would normally associate them with our community, and they don't really rep our community, but what they do want to do is maintain power. So they're trying to reach out to people in our community to be seen to be doing something for us, because they know traditionally 80% of us vote Labour. So, you know, they're not silly, they know that they need to engage us in a better way in order to...
It's about playing the game.
Yeah, to get things done.
I think this would be a good time to roll your video. Can we roll his video? It's really, tell us a little bit while he loads up the clip. Yeah, so this video came about, I put this together because I was just tired of hearing the same narrative day in, day out on TV, WhatsApp groups, you know, just negativity day in, day out. And I thought to myself, hold a minute, how come no one's talking about the solutions? Yeah. Because all well and good talking about people getting stabbed and killed, but what about the solutions? Let's focus on energy and our intelligence on getting... So I put a video together, basically a 15-point solutions list aimed at the government specifically, and we're going to do a part 2 which is aimed at our own community, because it's a two-way street. So it's just about them. It's about what can we do and what's in place.
Yeah, we started off with them because obviously they've got a responsibility as well. So watch out for part 2 anyway. It's coming out soon. Okay. Yeah. So you ready with that tape? This is live TV for you. But we've got the start of the clip. I wish I had time to show the whole thing. Obviously, we never had time for it. Yeah, they can see on YouTube, AccessUK. Okay. On our website as well. And that's accessuk.org. .org, yeah, that's the one. So yes. And we are waiting. Well, while we wait, let's go over to you, Mr. Reed, because you said a little bit about changing the narrative. And wait for the video. I'm sure you'll give us a shout when it's ready. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I switched on the news.
It's half expected to see another news of another young person that's been stabbed or shot. And I think to myself, enough is enough. They're going to be so long that we can talk about the issues of knife crime. Various TV programs going over the same things over and over again, the same narrative. But yet nobody's coming up with a solution. Nobody can come up with a viable solution to deal with serious youth violence. That's the reason why I've taken the decision, as a person who's worked in the community for almost 20 years, providing solutions, working with the youth, to come up with a viable plan of action. Viable 10-step, 15-step plan to deal with serious youth violence. Because we have to be the solution. We are the solution. The community is the solution. But we just need to be empowered. We need that encouragement.
I do like it. We are the solution. We do have the solution. But we also have to have the infrastructure as well to make sure that
100%.
there's something to change.
You know, it's serious youth violence is a mindset challenge first and foremost, because you are what you think. You know, so if we can impact on how our youth think, that's where it stems from. How they think, because the whole most of our youth now have been indoctrinated in a way where it's not, you know, it's counterproductive in terms of what they do.
Yeah, because one of my poems, the State of Emergency poems, is exactly about that, and it's about the mindset of our young people and what they take in. There's a verse on it about computer games and mentality, and also about YouTube.
That's it.
And you know, like, it's this very, very money focused. It's all about what you've got, what you're wearing. Very materialistic. Often like degrading to women, and I think that's the narrative that is often put out.
That's it.
And our young people buy into it, and I think from our generation we can sift through it, but a lot of that generation they're not able to sift through it, and they believe that's what it's about. And as Nana.
Yes.
So what kind of things are you doing at the moment with AccessUK?
So we recently got I saw the thing outside actually, Young London Fund.
Okay.
So that's a 3-year contract. We're operating in primarily Harringay, looking at supporting youth between the ages of 10 to 21.
Brilliant.
Obviously we deal with slightly higher kind of age group.
Which is good, because at 16 a lot falls away.
Yeah.
Because I work as a teacher, and I work a lot with challenging behaviour, and a lot of the time you see a whole team around them. You've got social workers, you've got the schools, and then when they get to 16, a lot of it falls away, and there's no real support for them.
There you go. So it's basically offering solutions to address serious youth violence, but from our perspective, which is obviously creating jobs, helping people to set up their own businesses, especially the younger guys that are on the streets, doing their thing where the job market doesn't appeal to them. So it's like, what is the alternative? That's what they're looking for. They're looking for a viable alternative. And if you can offer them something viable, a lot of them will give up that lifestyle to do it, but they need something that's proper, not nothing silly. So we do a lot of work with helping young people set up their businesses,
showing them that there's money to be made. There is money to be made. I think a lot of the time my young people say to me, like, I've got a small crew, and they will come in and they'll be like, why am I coming to school and I can make £200 a day? But what I try to get across to them is that you can make more than that a day legally if you take the right path.
Not only that as well. They're looking at it from a context of their age now, because that £200 a day, when you've got a couple of kids, you've got a wife, you've got a mortgage, you've got these bills, as you get older, it becomes obsolete. And in truth, you know, and the real people that have been on the streets know this as well. That drug game is dead. Yeah?
Saturated.
Of course it is. Everybody wants to be a shotter. So in terms of actually making real money from it, when you equate the risk, the hours, and everything else, you might as well go work at McDonald's in real terms. You know, so that's what I try to drum into their heads as well. Is that actually, is it really financially viable? Let's be realistic. And only someone who's got a lived experience can actually give them that realness where they understand, where it's not a textbook. Just gone to university and learn it, the theory. This is real life. And then know when you speak the truth and it resonates with them, that's what sparks the change. It's not no textbook nonsense like hug a hoodie or whatever nonsense. It's actually real talk. Saying, listen, you don't really make enough though. How many are you actually making big money? How many people do you know got a big house on a hill? You know, go holidays X amount of time. You get the odd few that do, but majority,
But the majority, even the ones that do find success, the first thing they do when they find success is try to go legal.
Yeah.
And try and get themselves out of that.
Absolutely.
Because by then they realise that it is a trap.
Absolutely. That's what they call it, a trap. So, yeah, we that's what we do. You know, we try to give them tangible pathways out of that lifestyle. And my ambition is basically to scale up what we do. We've done successfully in about 3 boroughs primarily, all across London and the UK. Wherever you see people like us, that's where we want to be. So, yeah, that's it.
One of the biggest stories that have been spoken about in the press at the moment is the chicken box knife crime hashtag thing. So basically, the government had this idea to try and reduce, as a solution for reducing knife crime, that they're going to put stories about people who've turned away from knife crime or turned to sports or turned to something in chicken box wrappers, and that they are hoping it is going to deter young knife-wielding men to turn away from knife crime. So it's caused quite a stir and quite a scandal. I mean, a lot of like the MPs were coming forward and saying it's racist. It's caused debates. It's been going on. So I thought we could touch on that. Let's have a little talk about chicken boxes. Nana.
Yes, my dear.
What was your first initial reaction to it when you heard it? What was your initial reaction?
Oh, it was a lot. I think one thing we have to be clear about to the audience and in general is that knife crime is seen as a black problem.
Yes.
Right? That's the first issue. Statistically, that's a load of nonsense.
Yeah, exactly.
Statistically, more white people die from knife crime than black people, but we have a disproportionate in terms of as victims and perpetrators, we have a disproportionate level. But actually, numerically, more white people die from knife crime than black people. Up until recently, Scotland was seen as the knife crime capital of Europe. Yeah? There's no blacks down there. Hardly any black people. So that's the first thing I want to make clear. So in terms of what we have is that there isn't a public uproar about people dying because the general public believes that it's a black problem, so who cares? I mean, there's more. If cats and dogs were being killed on the streets, there'd be more uproar about cats and dogs, literally, than black people. Black people losing their lives. So, but going back to the chicken thing, I heard the campaign's going to cost the government £50,000, right? Now that was the first giveaway. So the value of lives is 50k.
Yeah, it's not.
That's the first red herring.
Yeah.
50k campaign. It doesn't make any sense. The first thing I said was, how is that going to prevent somebody from picking up a knife and going to use it because they read some silly little message in a box? And you think people are getting paid a salary to come up with these absurd nonsense. There are solutions out there in the community. There's plenty of solutions providers, but most of them are broke. Yeah. Not for my African, you might not understand what broke means. They're broke. Yeah.
They don't have any
So put some patois in there. They're broke. Yeah. And what they need is an investment into what they do to scale up the results. And that's when you really see things happening. Don't be despondent or don't be thinking that there's no hope. There is lots of hope.
There's lots of people doing working hard. They really
hard with their own money most of the time, but it's not sustainable. That model is it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
So, in terms of solutions, that particular one, rubbish. There's solutions out there, but they need investment. And part of the reason why there isn't a big uproar, like I said, is because of the misconception about who the victims and perpetrators are. If you Ross Kemp done a program recently, and he said it straight, and I respect him for that as well. He said it's not a black problem. Because he talked about Sheffield, he talked about other parts of Newcastle, for example, where it's rife and there's no black people there. So we need to push that narrative more.
Yeah, but I think we should make a point of let's not try and we're gonna trust it straight away. Do you get what I'm saying?
All this trick in the book.
Exactly. It's all this trick in the book.
Yeah.
You're just trying to distract us. What's that about?
That's it.
And it's the idea that putting something in the wrapper or something someone's eating. The real causes of knife crime, the poverty, the mentality, the music, all of these things, once they're in that position, and they are scared, and they are carrying a knife, and they are in gang violence, you think,
Yeah, it's not like
Tyrone from down the block. Oh, he stopped, so that's gonna stop me from going out. It's just ridiculous.
I just feel like, in general, you know, a lot of campaigns are just a waste of time because a lot of them don't focus on the root of the problem.
Yeah, stop.
You get what
Put back
I'm saying?
CMA. Put back mentoring. If you think about schools and what's been cut, like in organisations, whole therapy teams have been cut out. Where are the mentors? Where are the people on the street that can actually do the work? Like one of your solutions was having street angels, isn't it? So it's to have people that you're employing from the community who are respected enough to say, yo, stop what you're doing and guide them. But there's no funding for that.
There's no funding for that. And I feel the irony of it is that's far more cost effective than hiring more police. And it's actually it will be more impactful. Imagine you see, he bemanned them on a thing. The proper people that you respect in the community, patrolling and talk to people and whatever. That's going to be more conducive than having a whole army of police that are camping down on the community.
The army police, having all of the police, it's just that, to me, that just makes things worse.
Well, there you go.
In this situation.
There you go.
You know, people are too trusting of the police and stuff like that. I don't see how, if anything, for me, the police perpetuate the problem more.
What we have to understand as well is there's a political motive to this as well. There's an election looming, right?
Yes.
And it's a vote winner. 100%. It's a vote winner. So Mr. Man is trying to appease certain people that he not a demographic that are going to vote for him. And being seen as tough on crime, is a sure way of getting votes. But the funny thing I was going to make a point earlier is that on the same day that they announced it, somebody got stabbed outside the Home Office.
Oh yes.
Yeah, one of the employees. You see what I'm saying? So the chickens have come home to roost. So why you're perpetuating? The chickens have come home to roost, literally. So why you're perpetuating this myth about black criminality? Somebody from your department got stabbed and he lost their life. I mean, how you couldn't even write it. You know, so it's a challenge, but the challenge is the reason why there isn't